How's it going, everyone? I'm W.F.S, your doctor, and I want to talk with you today about these two different movies here: Star Trek, the original motion picture, and Star Trek, the motion picture, the director's edition. Now, this one is, of course, the DVD version of it, but it is the sounds and effects that I want to discuss about one specific scene from this movie, as well as from Paramount Pictures, or rather should I say Paramount Plus's version of the motion picture, the director's edition, which is of course coming out on 4K Blu-ray. In improving a movie or making it look better, is it possible to damage a scene, take away from it something that is so horrific and actually make it sound worse while at the same time thinking you're making it better? That's the question I'm posing to all of you out there today, because I think that's exactly what happened in this movie. One particular scene. Before I get to that, I want to point out the fact that the video I just showed you over here of Star Trek the Motion Picture, I honestly believe, for the most part, they did a great job with the picture quality and the sound effects, everything. Not only in the original motion picture that comes in this great four film box set, but now they got a 6 set coming out, but also in the 4K director's edition, picture quality is amazing, crystal clear. In fact, I would make the argument that it sounds better and looks better than it did back in the theater. But that's not why I'm here today to discuss that. What I'm here to talk about is the transporter accident, or as some would call it, the transporter malfunction. Over the years, there's been various versions of that particular scene. The original version started off with the standard alert sounds that come out and all the sound effects, the computer freaking out, going malfunction, malfunction. But the scene that I'm really talking about here is toward the end of that particular incident, when the transporter is trying to reform the two in the beam. In the original, you hear the woman on the right side of the chamber screaming, fades for a moment, and then comes back, forms again, and forms the most horrific scream that you could ever hear. And so many people that I talked to about it even agree that that scene was so frightening back then. But for some reason, that scene right there wasn't scary enough for the Motion Picture Association to give it a PG rating. They gave it a G. So they went back to the studios. Robert Wise and a couple of other people went back and went to the sound effects department and said, hey, look, we want this to be a PG rating when we redo all the effects, make it sharper. But this particular scene right here, we want you to think about it as if you had no mouth, no way to vent, and you're stuck in the most horrific place that you could ever be. And finally, when you get to speak or scream, you let out the most horrific, nasty, scariest scream you could ever imagine. So he asked the sound department to come up with something like that. And what they did, to me, was so wrong. It took away from that moment. In the original scene, when they are forming, as I said before, she screams, then the transporter, I guess, take her apart again, and then she's forming again, and they're trying to come back together. All of a sudden she's bending, she's kneeling, and she's just letting out the most amazing, scary scream that you could ever hear. And at the end, when the beam cuts out, that scream is echoed not only in the chamber, but in the whole transporter room. It was just a chilling moment. And that was from the original 1979 version. Now, in this version right here that came out in 2001, the original DVD version, same scene, identical sound effects, with the exception of the scream. the scream. They added some mechanical effects to it, and they even used some of those same sound effects in the new version they have out, except they upped the volume a bit. But what makes this scene, in my opinion, bad, what hurts it, is that last scream. They've added so many mechanical effects to it. In between the original scream, two screams, there were two screams as they were materializing in the chamber and trying to get put back together. The first scream, just she lets it out. Ow, it's scary, it's scary. And then a few moments later, here comes the final scream. And as I said, when she fades, the echo of that scream is in the chamber and it goes throughout the whole transporter room. In this version, when she finally screams that last, well, never mind before that, when she screams that first time, in between the gap, where that gap is, they've added sound effects where it sounds like she's distortedly screaming, "Someone help me, help me." And over and again, that scream is there, but now the original scream has been drowned out by that new sound effect. And at the same time, when the beam cuts out, the sound is gone. The echo from that chamber is no longer there. It takes away from that scene. And if you doubt me on it, or if you don't believe me, I would ask you to go back to both versions on YouTube, or if you have them on your videos, watch them. Compare the two. In my opinion, the original death scream is the best one. And what they did here, well, again, they were trying to improve it. I honestly feel like they took away from that scene and they hurt it. Okay, to prove my point, the one I have up here is the director's cut edition from Paramount Plus. So I apologize for the quality, but the sound should be very clear on the subject. This is when Kirk and Scotty enter the transporter room.
Starfleet, boost your Matigator. We need more signal. More signal. They're losing their pattern. Oh no.
Here it comes. Okay, that was the director's edition of the transporter accident. Now I'm going to play you the original. Okay, again, the one I'm showing you right now is the original 1979 version, and I'm going to pick it up right at the middle of the transporter malfunction. Hopefully, you'll see what I'm talking about. And boy, does he look angry.
They're losing their pattern.
Oh no, they're forming.
Oh my God.
At the end of that scream, when they fade from the chamber, that scream is echoing throughout the whole room. And that to me is creepy in itself. And the other version, they just showed you the sound effects that they added to it, but when they faded from the chamber, the scream was gone completely, not even an echo from the chamber. More to the point, something I don't think I said before, the sound effects that they added, the girl screaming, help me, overlapped on top of her original scream, which in my opinion ruins the whole scene. And that to me is why I think sometimes adding or improving on a scene hurts the scene. Well, I am going to end the video right here, and I hope that you've enjoyed what I've tried to bring out that I think is wrong with it. Hope you enjoyed it. and I will see you soon.